Hello and welcome to Dee's Zoom launch here. We're going to be recording this and putting it up on YouTube later. And I just want to speak really quickly to let everybody know how much we here at Gnashing Tooth Publishing are just thrilled to have been able to work with Dee to bring the mansion to life. This is really incredible work. It's so honest, so just raw, and just it's necessary work. And I feel like this is a book of poetry that we need to be getting to the hands of lots and lots of people, so because a lot of people don't understand the impact of homelessness, not just on an individual but on our society, and the cost it what it costs us as a society to allow that to happen. As Dee so eloquently states, housing is a right. So we're thrilled to have Dee here, and Dee has asked a friend of his to read a couple poems to get us in the poetry mood, and then we're gonna turn it over to Dee to let him read. In the meantime, I'm going to be popping a link in the chat to the Center on Homelessness San Francisco. $1 from every book is going to be donated to them, and if you would like to make an additional donation, then we encourage you to do so. Also, if you go to our website and on Dee's page there's also a link. So if you want to donate later, it's easy for you to find that donate link to go to Center on Homelessness San Francisco and support the work that they do. Real quick, we're going to let Michael Anthony Ingram open us up today. Dr. Michael Anthony Ingram is a Pushcart Prize nominee, the host and producer of Quintessential Poetry Podcast. His poetry addresses power, privilege, and mental health awareness, drawing from his expertise as a professor of counselor education and supervision. His forthcoming collection, Metaphorically Screaming, continues his mission of amplifying silenced voices and mental health journeys. And we're going to send it away to you.
All right, thank you very much. Dee, congratulations, my friend. I'm so proud of you. I really, really am. You're a fantastic individual. And the work that you've done highlights issues that should be important to all of us as people of this country, as people of this world. So what I'd like to do is to share two pieces of poetry, and I dedicate them both to you, my friend. The first is titled, Yesterday's Canvas Revisited. A tapestry of rhymes was hung yesterday, not linen, but canvas with time-stretched fibers. It was hung in dapple sunlight weaving through the trees, in the shadow of the storm clouds, pregnant with unease. I vowed to turn away, to persevere, to face the unknown, yet yesterday's siren song, a whisper on the phone, morbidly compelled me back. There's a need to trace both the flames and the fire strokes using the brush strokes. The simplicity of a golden meadow. It was a place where childhood laughter danced, where yet a story was told. Tangled vines of complexity. It was a place where doubt and fear were intertwined like serpents. Gloom, a charcoal sketch, a shadowy landscape. The corner of the room was stained with tears, a corner where dreams had gone astray. The gleaming splendor, silver splashes, and the incandescent dew shimmered in the moonlight. I still cling to a leaf of hope, ever true to my heart. I said I would not look back, but the canvas held me fast. Its beauty and its scars, a mirror of the past. I had to know, I had to feel, I had to let the image burn, a pyre of memories, lessons I must learn. No longer a glance, but a deep immersive gaze, unraveling yesterday's intricate maze, for in its depths I find this strength to stride into tomorrow's canvas where my own brush will guide. So let the past be painted. Let the shadows flee. as I turn to the easel and paint my own new destiny. And this next piece is titled Grammatically Incorrect, a spoken word symphony. They try to box me in, pin me down with labels, noun that hangs heavy, verbs that dictate my every move, but I am not an object to be possessed, nor a marionette with strings for limbs. I am not a whisper of is or was, not a future tense that can be predicted. My being is a hurricane, ever shifting, rewriting its own narrative, unfurling in defiance of finite definitions. Forget your adjectives, your modifiers that diminish me. My light burns too bright to be dimmed by their pale descriptions. I am not dependent on their approval, their scales of good or bad. I wear my uniqueness as a crown, a tapestry woven with threads of resilience and fire. Conjunctions cannot connect me to their expectations. Prepositions cannot place me before their gaze. I am not an afterthought, a footnote in their grand narrative. My voice will rise, a chorus untamed, unconfined by their rules. Yes, I am grammatically incorrect. A sentence that breaks the mold. My language is the language of rebellion, a symphony of the marginalized, the misunderstood. It sings of freedom, of carving my own path, of being emphatically me, unapologetically me. Take me as I am. A riot of colors, a whirlwind of emotions. I am the sunrise bursting through cracked pavements, the divine bloom in the desert sand. I am not an error. I am an evolution, a testament to the beauty that lies beyond the confines of your textbook grammar. So let them parse me, analyze me, label me with their sterile terms. I will laugh in the face of their limitations, for I am free. Not just grammatically, but in my soul, in my spirit, in the very essence of my being. There is nothing about me that can be described as a noun, a verb, or a cage. I cannot be either and or budded out of existence. I am the phoenix that rises from the ashes, wings ablaze, forever soaring above the reach of someone else's prescribed world. I fearlessly embrace my own individuality while I make my mark in history. Again, thank you so much. And Dee, congratulations. Thank you.
Woo! I got chills.
Hey, Dr. Michael Anthony Ingram, ladies and gentlemen.
Incredible, incredible. Well, now we're going to talk a little bit about Dee Allen, the man we are all here to celebrate today. Dee Allen is an African-Italian performance poet based in Oakland, California. Active on creative writing and spoken word since the early 1990s. The author of 9 books and 72 anthology appearances under his figurative belt so far, and to date, The Mansion is his 10th book. If you haven't got your copy yet, please get it. Get copies for friends and spread this book around, because this is a necessary book, especially in these days and times, and it needs a big, wide audience. And Dee, there is so much about you that you cannot put in a bio, and it is our honor at HD Publishing to have you as part of the family here, and I'm going to let you have the floor.
Cool. Share screen works. Let me give it up one more time for our guest poet from Washington, D.C., Dr. Michael Anthony Ingram. And his upcoming book will be coming out. So Gnashing Teeth Publishing should be able to invite this man in if he decides to ever put out a second book. His work is that powerful. and that raw, that honest, and that engaging. And that's why I invited him for y'all today. So, to assist me in this endeavor of this book launch, I'm going to use the share screen feature. And my story here in the San Francisco Bay Area of Northern California began with this: the Greyhound bus, the cross-country bus ride between coast from the east to the west. Disembark. November 4th, 2002, 5 a.m. 3 days of long cross-country escape from the ATL, from the dirty, from the East Coast, ended when I stepped off the Dirty Dog at Trans Bay Terminal and touched both feet on new, unfamiliar territory. A West Coast city I've once read about as being friendly to the creative and strange. First breakfast consumed at Denny's on Mission and 4th before sun broke through sky. Still ate eggs and pork sausage along with pancakes and peppermint tea. First 2 nights spent at hostels, Monday in Union Square, Tuesday in Fort Mason, bunk bed in either lodging, then empty wallet, uncertain future I had made up as I went along. Several days to seek steady lodging. Several weeks to adopt this town as my own. Several months to get to know self again. Several years to come back into my own. All my past dreams of personal future didn't include San Francisco, but I'm here to stay. Ella Hill Hutch. November 6, 2002. I stood in a long line on Fell Street near Market at 6. The line moved occasionally before I passed through 39 Fell at 7:15, signed up for a shelter bed at 7:20, climbed aboard and rode a loaded white Cats van at 7:45, dropped off at an emergency winter shelter at Ella Hill Hutch Community Center at 7:55. 90-minute wait outside the premises along the drunk, the smelly, the strung out, the crazy. I was landless as day, but resolved. This will not be my future. The steel doors opened at 9:30 into the center. Overseer's guide swept inside with a houseless tide, polished wood gymnasium flow. Clean and bare, filled up rapidly, nowhere left to sleep but the wooden bleachers, full blue backpack for my pillow. Brown leather hand-me-down trench for my blanket, big blue suitcase padlocked for my headboard. Bleacher seat harder than the last Pantera album, murder on my back, lights out at 10, unsafe, unsettled feelings on my way to sleep. Anyone could steal anything from me while I'm catching my Z's. This must be what jail feels like. November 7th, 2002. Awakened to darkness at 4:45. Aching back and shoulders from sleeping in wooden bleachers. The gymnasium's asleep. In sync with the pre-dawn world, nothing of mine was stolen. Unsafe, unsettled feelings persisted. Mental comparisons to jail persisted. I hated the prospect of controlled movement night after night in environments like that one, like a prisoner, and I committed no crime. I lifted my suitcase out of the bleachers onto the gym floor slowly, then my backpack, then myself. with the ugly brown leather trench on, passed through the steel exit door, never to return. Fuck Ella Hill Hutch. Fuck shelters. Fuck overseers. Neither of them were going to get me housed or free. Not every mansion is a playground for the wealthy. The mansion. Excerpt. After the meeting ended, I met the stranger Celine described. Tall man, afro, dark blue trench, first friend in San Francisco. Rollo. Almost stray dog style, I followed Rollo to a bus stop between Geary and Van Ness, and we entered through the back door of the crowded number 38, my first Muni bus ride. Disembarked at Geary and Fillmore, entered Japantown, left on Fillmore, trot 3 blocks north, left on Sutter, trot down a dark deserted driveway. Chain link fence swung open, enter side door to an Edwardian Gothic wreck nearly 100 years old, closed to the public for unspecified years, sans electricity. Rollo led me up a spiral staircase in the pitch black indoors. Second floor, a long piercing strip of halogen light lacerated utter darkness. Rollo and I met Salim and Catherine. With his mag light, Salim gave Catherine and I an impromptu tour of this large, archaic house of yet to be questioned history. Basement, frightening but huge. First floor, saved for one well lived in, empty rooms. Kitchen with functional stove and refrigerator. Third floor, spacious attic, 3 rooms unclaimed. Back to second floor. Catherine, somewhat frightened, decided not to stay. I, being new in town, I stayed. Celine provided me with a couple of tattered blankets in a room. Personal inner sanctum. No door, no lock. 1 window boarded up. 1 window remained intact. I laid down my backpack and suitcase in that ice-cold bedroom. Kept my caramel brown leather trench on. Took off my black leather Timberlands, crawled under both tattered blankets, snacked on a chocolate croissant, and thought on the way to needed sleep. This squat, any squat, the solution to homelessness is right here. Redstone. February 2003, named in honor of the material it was built from, besides cement, paint, and steel. It was a temple to labor in the Mission District, left over from the Great Depression, an age when labor unions actually organized their workers to fight for themselves. Redstone. It was a blunt object workers used to chuck at lines of cops and scabs during workplace strikes. Redstone. It was 3-story, 30-day temporary home, transitional crash pad between a mansion and the next great squat. Host to a second floor office, dangerously close to the elevator, shared with indie media and whispered media. My collective and me slept on beat-up second-hand couches and dirty, tacky carpet, stored our belongings, rescued from that construction crew at the mansion after the raid, prepared our meals in a microwave and a rice cooker, held our meetings in the main computer lab, brought back delicious treats from the dive into La Victoria's bakery dumpster, gave theater rhinoceros hell for loud rehearsed yelling. Redstone. It was where my collective and me were ejected from by indie media's consensus decision. Not a soul blocked it. The Thorn excerpt. It was an adventure in itself, exploring all the rooms of a protruding thorn on a stem called Rose Street off Upper Market. In one of those spacious rooms, Chris and Tanya found a nickel-plated 9mm Glock, probably loaded. The couple had shown me their small arms discovery. Fear ran through me. Because of this, three of us had held our first house meeting. The three-way chit-chat led to us instituting for our new home a no weapons policy, especially guns. At the end of the meeting, we decided that one of us should dispose the gun elsewhere. Tanya refused to do it. Chris refused too. By default, I was the one to do the disposal work. Outside, fear ran through me still, holding a machine designed to kill away from home. I found the first rubbish bin I saw on some lonely Hayes Valley corner. I threw it in, the source of my grief. Nickel-plated 9mm wrapped in a black bandana. March 19th, 2003. The Coalition on Homelessness asked volunteers to be houseless guides to visiting Kansas University students. I stepped forward and accepted the offer. It was the easiest $50 I ever made. For one day, my out-of-town guests followed me around and took notes of my daily life, young and black, houseless in San Francisco. Starting point of our tour. A protruding thorn on a stem called Rose Street off Upper Market. To me, it was home. Aaron, Ben, and Joe, Midwestern, white and young, as privileged as they come, were led through labyrinthine corridors into oversized rooms that could house 8 at once. Next stop, 39 Fell. The three Midwesterners bore witness to the long, sad line of desperation I was once part of. Ended at the front registration desk inside, flowing like water streams most of the day. Shelter referrals, vacant beds. Next stop, Starbucks, inside the Hotel Whitcomb. A place to get free cups of hot water. I provided my guests with lemon tea bags and turbinado packets. That's blonde sugar or sugar in the raw, y'all. Next stop, UN Plaza Cafe. San Francisco gray sky began pouring cold rain. Our crew was wet and starving. Only dry, free area in sight. The blue canopy above UN Plaza Cafe, closed. Food Not bombs huddled under it to serve free, hot vegetarian food as always. Soup and bread hit the spot. Next stop, anti-war march. The roving protest against Bush's planned invasion of Iraq was bigger than usual, louder, angrier. On a whim, Aaron, Ben, Joe, and me traded one crowd for another. We left Food Not bombs serving and joined the march down Market, despite getting drenched. Fuck the rain, fuck rush hour. Time to stop a war. Oak Tree Manor, July 2003. In the afternoon sun, we toiled away in the backyard of a Victorian home near Panhandle Park, long condemned, pruning branches from trees with a saw, trimming bushes with shears, scooping up trimmings with a rake, shoving them in, and scattered in trash into large, hefty bags, propping a small ladder behind the back door as steps, since the back porch was missing, probably dismantled long ago. Before the eyes of a few curious neighbors, we toiled away in the backyard, and inside the manor, the unlivable suddenly became livable again. Because of my houseless crew and me, like colonies of bats, squatters do dirt most and live for the dark vastness of night. Unlike those winged rodents, squatters can do amazing things in the daylight too. The railroad. September, October 2003. For 1 month, I made my home on Chattanooga and 21st in the valley that is Noe, amidst proud painted ladies, not the ones that stand on tenderloin sidewalks at night for sexual favors, not those. Restored Victorian / Edwardian painted houses, yup, those. Townhouses, architectural twins, 2 stories of plain white emptiness at first, unfilled on top, unfilled on the bottom. Tony, me, Jolene, Zachariah, and Jamaica, and some others stayed on the bottom floor. Sliding glass patio door in the back, always unlocked. Gas and water worked, electricity didn't. Hot showers in the bathroom, hot meals from the kitchen stove, warmth flowing from the heating vents. In a nocturnal silence, one sound would break it, lulling me to sleep. The J train, rolling on light rail train tracks on the hill in the back of my townhouse. Easy to feel those wooden flow vibrations, soothing enough to listen and pass out to. The J train on its rounds every 15 minutes, moving west outbound, Balboa Park, moving east inbound, Embarcadero, Iron Track Lullaby. Feed. This ain't no charity. This is a protest. Supermarkets, hotels, eateries, coffee shops make waste out of fresh and prepared food, tons by the day's end. This ain't no church function. This is a protest. Bullets, assault rifles, tanks, airplanes, destroyer ships, bombs make faraway lands killing fields. National budget spent mostly on this. Forget homes. This ain't no city program. This is a protest. Hunger tends to exist in the first world too. So food is recovered from rotting as waste. This ain't no welfare line. This is a protest. Ongoing against military buildup, gearing up for war, days and nights and days, dining from empty plates, drinking from empty cups, sleeping on empty bellies, dreaming of a decent meal. The revolution sometimes begins from the bottom of a bowl. Public space gets reclaimed. That space becomes inclusive. Fresh, prepared, free vegetarian food is shared with neighbors. Afterwards, workers and poor alike leave the corner with fuller bellies. Hunger is much worse on the streets, so some do what class society fails to do. Feed the people, food to every fork. This ain't no charity. This is a protest. Feed. And those poems that I've just performed come from my new and 10th book, The Mansion, Liberated Zones Inside the Controlled Inner City. And I think I may have room for possibly one more piece, but it's not going to come from The Mansion. I may have to step out for a moment. I'll be back.
Right. In the meantime, can I just say, wow. Wow. There is a food not bombs in a couple of different cities that I'm aware of. If y'all don't know about the work they do, please check them out and see if they're in your city. They provide meals to the homeless, and it's not based on you have any requirements. You just have to show up and eat. And it's volunteers. I was a part of a group that we picked one Sunday in the town where I used to live, and we went out and we did sandwich bags for people to take after they had eaten the meal. That way they would have a second meal later. So it was a really good organization. I can't say enough good things about them. So anyway.
Yeah, I live here in Berkeley, California. I'm kind of neighbors with Dee, and you don't even have to be unhoused. You can just go and eat. Like we had a place called People's Park where the feeds were being done, and I have to track down where they're being done now because that park was a movement in and of itself, which Dee knows that that park no longer exists. So we will have to find other places.
A big part of my life,
Right.
as was East Bay Food Not Bombs. I used to work with them and the San Francisco chapters simultaneously for 1 year, from November 2002 to November 2003. They're a great organization to work for, and they will provide food for any public event, usually for protests, but they will provide free vegetarian or vegan food for any public event. And anybody can eat, whether you're homeless, housed, a worker, or otherwise. They will be there to make sure you stay fed for the day. And I have one last poem, and that happens to come from a book that's not put out by Nash and Teeth Publishing. Though someday I hope to put the book back out in a second edition through them. And this next poem happens to come from my 9th book, which came out before The Mansion, called Discovery. And it took me a long time to put out this one book. It took me 5 straight years to write it, and took an additional 2 years to shop at the different book labels. And I shopped at the 66 different book labels between here and France, if you could believe that. And it seemed like a losing cause for a while. And if it wasn't for Southern Arizona Press, Discovery would have never seen the light of day. So to this day, I thank the editor, Paul Jalilin, for that. And I'm going to share one more poem from this particular book and use the share screen feature to aid me in that. Once more. Anyone who has seen this woman's work in movies and television know who this is. From Discovery, from pages 138 and 139 in that book. This is called Foxy. You never forget your first infatuation. Mine's was the big thing before other honeys entered the picture. Soul cinema action queen, did her own stunts, did her own afro, wasted no time kicking ass on the big screen. The baddest one chick hit squad that ever hit town. First of her kind. Mine had no issues getting grindhouse balconies and seats filled on Saturday nights in the 1970s. She made the scene as Coffee, Friday Foster, Sheba Baby, Foxy, super bad out of sight. She was a rebellious prisoner for 3 flicks straight. The Big Bird Cage, The Big Dollhouse, Black Mama, White Mama, Foxy, super bad out of sight. Battled the Romans in the arena as the gladiatrix Mamawi stuck it to the man at Bucktown. And Foxy Brown, Foxy, super bad out of sight. She booted down the dough so many mo could pass through. Tamara Dobson, Teresa Graves, Gloria Hendry, Jeannie Bell, Vanetta McGee, Jane Kennedy, Foxy, super bad out of sight. Her deep brown eyes met the male gaze from pictures, seemed to say, you can look at me, but respect me or else. I was a small, twiggy boy, the starving Biafran, as my cousins called me, when all this happened. Black America had a stone cold Love Jones for that foxy, mocha tough mama from the movies, and I was no ways immune. You never forget your first celebrity crush. Have no fear, Pam Grier is here. Foxy, forever so. And that poem came from my 9th book, Discovery, still available from Southern Arizona Press. From this mic to your ears, I'm Dee Allen. Thanks for listening.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming today. Thank you, Dr. Michael Anthony Ingram, for opening it up for Dee today. And you can find the replay on YouTube and on the website and on our social media. And be sure to share it around and spread the word about the mansion, liberated zones inside the controlled inner city. And get your donations over to the Coalition on Homelessness San Francisco and let people know about the good work they're doing. Dee, thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Mrs. Tardif.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. And thank y'all again. And see you later. Have a great rest of your day.
Have a great rest of your day, you hear?